What would change if you saw adversity not as a test, but as confirmation? How would this one tweak consistently implemented affect your brave career?
Welcome to the Build Your Brave Career podcast, where we flip the script on the tired stereotype that women in and around the tech industry have to be stressed out, overworked, and underpaid. I'm Nicole Trick-Steinbach. Forget what you've been taught. Bravery is not a personality trait available only to the brash. Bravery is a skill, and building the skill of bravery is the most powerful way to creating the career and life you really want. As you build your brave, you will stress less, work less, and then earn more. This podcast will help you do just that. Let's dive in.
There's an extremely common idea that is floating around, and maybe you've heard it. Maybe you've even said it yourself. It's most often summed up into words like, the universe is testing me. God is testing me. Another way I hear this is often people who share a story of fighting through and overcoming adversity with great stress and great struggle. And listen, if that speaks to you, if that energizes you more than it drains you, fantastic. But for me now, as I am a successful woman in tech, I have experienced that seeing adversity as a test or as a battle just doesn't serve me anymore. Let me be very clear. I saw every hardship as a challenge I needed to fight through, to prove myself and to conquer. Just like I am grateful to the version of me that overworked and became a director by 30, I am also grateful to the version of me that fought so hard, that saw almost every adversity as a test and nailed that test. I'm just not that person anymore because that energy, it drained me. I was overworking, feeling stuck, acting like someone I didn't want to be, subscribing to beliefs that are harmful. That doesn't work for me anymore. I'm grateful for that version of me, and it doesn't work for me anymore. And maybe that's true for you too. There was this moment of shift, a moment of choosing instead of seeing challenges as tests, adversities as battles. I began to believe that the moments and phases of adversity are moments and phases in which I am being invited into confirming me, my values, my priorities, my relationships, my boundaries, and my goals. I began to believe that every situation, no matter how difficult, was an opportunity to solidify my purpose and continue building my bravery. This mindset changed a lot for me. Instead of exhaustion, I found energy. Instead of resistance, I found alignment. There's this famous quote attributed to Banksy: when you get tired, learn to rest, not quit. And for me, this mindset shift from test adversity into confirmation is exactly what makes it possible for me to rest instead of quitting. I share two examples of how this mindset shift created more ease and results. But before I do, I want to remind you that I'm human. I'm also a Scorpio. So I genuinely feel cordially, formally, officially invited to every single battle, every single hill that touches any of my values. You will frequently see me accept each invitation, especially around human rights, being overworked, or moments of inequality and bigotry. What you cannot see is that when I am direct on the outside, when many people would label my voice and my words as aggressive rather than assertive or clear, while my choices may exhaust other people, seem unnecessary to other people, You cannot see my insides. You cannot see how much gold shines in my spine when I speak clearly. You cannot see how clear my thoughts become, how relaxed my shoulders feel after I have spoken up, asked questions, held my boundaries. You cannot experience my peaceful, deep sleep after shifting an adversity or uncomfortable moment into another confirmation of my values and my purpose. You cannot see how when I do not speak up, I am exhausted. Do I still climb too many hills? Yes. Do I still die on too many hills? Perhaps. And that will never change. As long as I'm breathing, I will still be messing up and learning and getting better. I am human, and you are too. Please hold on to those truths, as well as the truth that being brave is everything but perfect. As I share these two real stories of how shifting from test to confirmation can lower stress and increase satisfaction, remember, these are snapshots in time. I could be telling the opposite stories as well. Okay, here's the first example. It's my example, and then I'm going to share a client example. I set a goal to speak more and also to brand new audiences about the skill of bravery, how to build it, and why it elevates your career, especially as a woman in a male-dominated industry. During my first real confirmation about my content and my presentation with an event leader for women in STEM, my stutter flared up. Oof. I know it's hard to tell sometimes on this edited podcast, but in real life, sometimes I just can't find a word to replace the word that my mouth is choosing to hold on to. It's annoying. It's frustrating. I've been dealing with it my whole life. I have a relatively light stutter, and I'm grateful for that. But this moment with this event lead was a pretty big moment of stuttering. In that moment, I had a subconscious choice. I could either see my stutter flare up as a test or as a moment of confirmation. If I had seen it as a test, and I know this to be true because I lived in this space, I would have backed off and I would have told myself, I'm not ready. The universe is testing me and I'm failing. But instead, my habit of choosing to see adversity as a confirmation took over. In that moment, I was able to laugh, share that I do indeed have a stutter, and that it's actually one of my motivators. That one of the reasons I choose to speak is because I want other women to see that whatever they think makes it impossible for them to speak up just isn't true. That being a speaker with a stutter, however light or heavy on that day, is a moment of me choosing to build the skill of bravery. Then I walked that event lead through my Build Your Brave framework and how I had just lived and role modeled it through that moment of stutter. Not only did I get an invite to speak at that event, I got a prime spot. Feedback was the highest for my speech more than any other, which I hope is going to create even more opportunities to speak to even more audience. This is the place where I tell you, dear listener, that I'm available and I want to speak to you and your communities. If you want me to speak to your communities, and I really hope that you do, please send me an email at nicole@tricksteinbach.com. It's in the show notes. My stutter remains an adversity, but it isn't a roadblock. Instead, I see it as an opportunity to embrace my uniqueness, live my brave, and I hope inspire other women to do the same for themselves. Okay, example number 2, and this comes from a client of mine. Before I get into example 2, I want to share a little bit about how this helps others as a lead in, as context for my client story. When I share this mindset shift with my clients, the most common first response is to argue with me. I hear things like, I don't need more adversity. I know what I want. All the way down to the very colorful, like, fuck that right on down. I love the women I coach. Yet, with reflection, most, but not all, of my clients tell me how piloting the shift from test into confirmation helps them feel more ease. Often they use words like easier and lighter to describe how they're experiencing moments of adversity. But listen, I've also had a few clients who have said to me, I tried it and nope, I thrive on the feeling of being challenged. And they are able to keep moving forward with bravery and building habits that lower their stress and their overwork. And that is fantastic. That is the power of one-on-one coaching because there is no cookie cutter solution. There is your brave career. Okay. But for the majority, I have seen them gently shift their perspective from one of struggle to one of support, particularly in dealing with difficult colleagues, customers, and managers/executives. The most extreme example to date is a client of mine who was faced with a CEO behavior shift. And this behavior shift was so demeaning to her function's role and value to the company. I could go on an entire rant here, but I'm just going to control myself. And I'm going to tell you that this function is core to every single productization process. Without this function, you don't have a product that gets to market on time and quality and around in budget. Full stop. For the majority of her career, this would have spun her all the way out. However, she had done so much work to identify what she wants and what she doesn't want in her career, as well as practicing the shift from that first conditioned moment of reaction into, yeah, we have our conditioned reactions. Okay, the knee-jerk response. And we get to choose our conscious secondary response. And she had done an extraordinary amount of work around that. We'd been working together when this took place. I'm going to say for 18 months would be my guess. Honestly, listen, I don't know if she would say that she had shifted from seeing adversity from a test into confirmation. I don't know if she would use those words. But I know that she now sees and believes behaviors over words, that she takes a beat to reflect, recenter herself into her values, into her boundaries, and only then does she take action. She could have chosen to see this as a test and fought it. Instead, she saw it as a confirmation that, yeah, her function is very important. And more importantly, she is a rock star at her function. So she kept doing her job and doing her job exceptionally well while she amped up her networking conversations and her exploration of the market. So as a result, when the CEO laid off the entire function, her chosen response, not her first reaction, her chosen response was one of release. She could articulate her concern in income, her frustration about how the layoff happened, her annoyance at the current market reaction, and her choice to not argue, not overwork, not stress herself out, and not believe or allow the concept that her function might not have value in a productization. And because of that, and quite frankly, because she has also practiced excellent financial skills, she was able to comfort herself that her finances were fine, to ask for help, to ask for support, to volunteer, to take time to relax, explore, engage, and then design her next career phase. And I love that for her. This is the type of result you can expect when you build the skill of bravery. I would love that for you too. What would change in your life if you saw adversity not as a test, but as confirmation? How would this one tweak consistently implemented affect your decisions, your energy, your money, your relationships, your boundaries, and yeah, your brave career? For me, this belief reminds me that I'm supported, that no matter how hard things get, the universe or God or me isn't working against me. We're all working for me. That every moment of adversity will eventually become a moment of growth and opportunity. Mostly because I make it. I'll leave you with this. The next time life feels hard, please pause yourself and ask, what is this moment confirming for me? What values could be confirmed? What new skill or boundaries are being engaged? What could be the lesson? What could I turn into a gift?
If the Build Your Brave Career podcast is helping you reduce your stress, work smarter, or create more income, please share this with a friend.